still have 9:59.
He's really exempt from our regulations. All right.
I think so. Just take your time over there. It's an important process to get it right. Good.
Okay, put me back over here. Yeah. And there's more people in the room.
All right, I've got 10 o'clock.
Just get the call, because he always,
You ready?
something.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Commissioners Court. This is, today is the 24th day of April 2023, and this is our 10 a.m. version of Commissioners Court. And we will start with the confirmation of roll call. Precinct 1.
Here.
Precinct 2.
Here.
Precinct 3.
Here.
Precinct 4.
Here.
And the judge is here, so we do have a quorum. And with that, we will officially call this meeting to order, and we will have our invocation and our pledges. Our most heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day. We thank you for the rainfall that you have brought to Lavaca County to protect all of our livestock, our first responders, our firemen in particular. And we are just so thankful, Lord, we didn't have any casualties or fatalities due to weather-related incidents. I know we had a water rescue, and we thank you, Lord, that everyone was safe and secured after the rescue. Please watch over these proceedings today and watch over us in all we do, Lord. And we ask all these blessings in your name. Amen.
Amen.
And now our pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Again, thank you everyone for being here, or whether you're live with us, live streaming on YouTube, or you're watching it at some other time. But thank you for participating in your local government. With that, before we enter our action agenda items, do we have any public speakers or any kind of announcements from anybody? Court?
Got one.
You got one?
Paul Yammer.
Paul Yammer's got one? Okay. Paul, you want to come here? You just come up real quick. I think you brought us a brochure.
Yes, this coming Saturday is Veterans Appreciation Day here at the Casey Hall. Judge has a poster. Anybody that knows a veteran, please let them know. All veterans are invited, immediate family, and any widowers. We had over 400 veterans last year, fed them meals.
400 veterans?
Yes.
Wow.
And we have a bucket draw where we have items that have been donated, and the veterans get a ticket, and they'll be able to bid on, their ticket will pick a item, and they win items. We have a ceremony. Yes, Judge.
Open to the public?
Not really. It's for veterans.
Okay.
This is Veterans Appreciation Day, so this
Okay.
is for them.
All right.
Everybody knows a veteran. Please let them know. It is this Saturday. Casey Hall starts at 10:30 as the doors open. 11:30 is the ceremony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Good day.
Paul, for that. Appreciate it. All right, again, that's April 29th, Saturday at 10:30 at the KC Hall, open to all veterans. And I know I was invited to attend, but I cannot attend this weekend. I will be out of town. Any other announcements? We do have an announcement, and it is unfortunate to announce, but our beloved EMS chief's grandma passed away, and she will be laid to rest at 1 o'clock today in Yoakum. I know some of us will be attending that as well, but Michael, our condolences to you and your family. I know she's been a wonderful supporter and contributor to the EMS program, and if I understand right, I think she donated a lot of furniture at some point in the way, so you're in our prayers today. So thanks for doing what you do, and God bless your grandma. All right, anything else? With that, we'll move into action item number 1, discuss and/or approve accepting the GCRPC-MOD funding. And I'm going to let Wayne, you want to add anything to that, or?
No, I will make a motion to approve accepting the Golden Crescent Regional Planning Commission method of distribution funding for
Okay.
today.
And that funding amount is 2.907 million?
Yes, sir, and we will have the official meeting on Wednesday in Victoria, the Board of Directors, to approve the method of distribution. I will be in attendance.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. So we had a motion made by Precinct 1 to approve the accepting the GCRPC-MOD funding in the amount of $2.907 million. Second by Precinct 1. Any other discussion? Before we vote, I do want to discuss that we've already allocated how we were going to spend the first amount. We're going to keep the same distribution the same.
Low to moderate income needs to be 1.453 million spent on, in that.
Okay.
We're going to split those funds between 1 and 2.
That's what we agreed on this side of the fence.
On the
We're going to be
low
nice
moderate.
if we're not saying anything at this point.
Shoot that down here.
Well, this is what I'm going to suggest we do at this point, because we're ways off from implementing the fund. Let's accept the funding, and then we'll go back to the table, or put it back on the agenda. It could even go on consent, how to allocate the new funding portion of that.
And we can do it, and just one mention, Judge.
Okay.
Lavaca County, with the cities are eligible as well, and so we had strategic meetings about that, and so as a result of that, Lavaca County is going to receive about a little north of $7 million for those funds. If you
Total.
total, yes, the county received 2.9, and then Shiner, Moulton, and Hallettsville will receive the balance of those.
And I know you well enough, you're not going to take full credit for that, but we sent you to that meeting for a reason, and you came back with $7-something million. So thank you on behalf of the cities in Lavaca County. Thank you for sticking up for them and voicing your,
You're very
to
welcome.
do the right thing.
Glad to do.
So, all right, so motion was made by Precinct 2, second by Precinct 1. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes, and thank you, Wayne, for serving on that committee and getting that done. Action item number 2, discuss and approve certificate of exemption from subdivision requirements for Windsor Chase LLC.
This is a, Judge, well, I move that we approve the certificate of exemption to begin with. And then discuss.
Second it.
Okay, a motion was made to discuss and approve the certificate of exemption from subdivision requirements for Windsor Chase LLC. Motion was made by Precinct Precinct 2, seconded by Precinct 1. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. This is the tract of ground that's on County Road 258, and it's being split up as 81 acres, yes. And so it's, the way it's being divided, it all has road frontage. And so there's no flag lot, there's nothing there that would even involve the subdivision requirements of the county. So we're asking to provide an exemption, but they really are exempt from our regulations based upon the way the subdivision has been structured and everybody having highway frontage, so, or county road frontage. So we don't really do anything but make sure that that place. Daleen and I met with the developer, sat down with him, and I asked him, every question that should be asked, mostly, and what I did and Daleen did, and so just to be sure that to protect the people around them, protect the county, and be sure that we're doing what we should be doing in developing that land.
All right, I did meet with the developers. I think before that meeting, I was able to briefly introduce myself to them and understand the project. We can discuss it more on number 9, but my only concern, and again, I don't think we have anything in our regulations now. And when we say subdivision regulations, it basically is more to do with road regulations than anything else. There is a subdivision component, of course, but roads. So when we approve a project like this, we have to consider the easement of the road coming out of that. I mean, you've got the potential of 10 more families added to a road. And is easement wide enough to develop that road to make sure there's two-way traffic and not people get stuck in the ditches and school buses and ambulances and so forth? So I don't think we have that addressed in our subdivision plan. I know we brought that up with Allison Bass but we can discuss it on number 9 and the reason to go back into some of our subdivision regulations. But this time we have nothing, basically nothing in our power to stop this project, I think, if you call it that. So it is, so they will, we will,
They have a pretty good set of standard of restrictions too on here, I noticed, so.
okay. Well, with that, any further discussion?
I don't think so.
If not, we had a motion made by precinct 2, second by precinct 1 to approve the certificate of exemption from subdivision requirements for Windsor Chase LLC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Okay, moving on to item number 3, discuss and approve proclamation declaring May 7th through May 13th, 2023 is National Correctional Officers Week in Lavaca County. Do I have a motion?
Sure. Your Honor, I make a motion to approve a proclamation declaring May 7th through 13th, 2023 as National Correctional Officers Week in Lavaca County.
Second.
Motion was made by precinct 1, seconded by precinct 2 to approve the proclamation declaring May 7th through May 13th, 2023 as National Correctional Officers Week in Lavaca County. And that proclamation will read, whereas correctional officers have the difficult and often dangerous assignment of ensuring the custody, safety, and well-being of over 600,000 in our nation's prisons and jails. Their position is essential to the day-to-day operations of these institutions. Without them, it would be impossible to achieve the foremost institutional goals of security and control. Whereas historically, correctional officers have been viewed as guards, occupying isolated and misunderstood positions in prisons and jails. In recent years, the duties of these officers have become increasingly complex and demanding. They are called upon to fill simultaneously custodial, supervisory, and counseling roles. The professionalism, dedication, and courage exhibited by these officers throughout the performance of these demanding and often conflicting roles deserves our utmost respect. The important work of correctional officers often does not receive the recognition from the public it deserves. It is appropriate that we honor the many contributions and accomplishments of these men and women who are a vital component of the field of corrections. Whereas in recognition of contributions of correctional officers to our nation, the Congress, by Senate Joint Resolution 132, has designated the week of May 7th through May 13th, 2023 as National Correctional Officers Week. Now therefore, we, the members of Lavaca County Commissioners Court, do hereby proclaim the week beginning May 7th, 2023 as National Correctional Officers Week. We call upon officials of state and local governments and the people of the United States to observe this week with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And we will sign that later on this date, April 24th, April 2023. So we had a motion by precinct 1, second by precinct 2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And thank you to Sheriff Harmon and Becky Perez for, and JR, if he's here as well, but we had a tour of the jail and facilities a couple weeks ago. We have another one set. May 1st is not going to work. I have not announced that to the group, but May 1st is not going to work for Becky. So we'll get back to another date and time. We want some of our staff members to go through that jail, and they need to see what they're dealing with. That's plain and simple. It's very eye-opening, and I can speak from the court. When you hear those doors slam behind you, it's a little chilling. So anyway, thank you, Sheriff Harmon, for running a tight jail and for doing what you do. We appreciate y'all. And I counted the jail inmates this morning. I believe we were at 35. It's getting close to full. So I don't think we're talking about expanding our jail, but it's an important job keeping 35 inmates locked up. Okay, item number 4, discuss and approve temporary construction license agreement between Lavaca County and PAD Farms LLC.
Your Honor, I move that we discuss and approve the temporary construction license agreement between Lavaca County and PAD Farms LLC.
Second.
Motion was made by precinct 2, second by precinct 1 to discuss and approve temporary construction license agreement between Lavaca County and PAD Farms LLC. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. By way of background, This is regarding a TxDOT project to replace a failing bridge on a county road in my precinct. And so this has been going on for a long, long time, and the attorney representing Pad Farms is out of Victoria, and he was adamant about how it was to be processed and who was to be protected and held harmless and all those things. And what I was able to do was to meet with TxDOT, sort out the particulars. They were ready to walk on the project. It would have, Lavaca County would have lost about $750,000 with the construction and the engineering and everything going on regarding placing that bridge. And so it's a program that TxDOT has access to help counties. And so I felt that it was important that we not lose the funding to replace the bridge. And so consequently, as a result of that, working with the attorney, letting them make sure that we own the road, we own the right-of-way of the road, the county does. And so what we're doing is promising to put the fence back like we found it, to hold the landowners harmless in the event that something happens. TxDOT hires the contractor. The contractor's insured, licensed, bonded, and so they will be bearing the responsibility of making sure that that is a safe work environment, and we will promise to put the fence back like it was, and if there is debris to be removed, we'll promise to do that. So as a result of that, we're now in process of getting the documents signed, the license agreement signed, and so this has gone into an estate, and so the landowner has passed away, left it to their daughters who do not live in Texas, and so it's the lawyers tracking them down and getting the signature. So what I'm going to recommend here is that we approve this pending the signed copy from the estate, the beneficiaries of the estate who own the land. So we don't have that at this time, so we technically shouldn't adopt it as it stands because we need the signatures before we can file it with the county clerk. So what we're going to do, what I recommend that we do is, again, file it pending receipt of the signed copies from the estate.
Okay. I'll add to the discussion. When we did have we had this agreement go through county attorney's office. They read it. They had a couple words they would like to have changed. I read it. I read the agreement myself. The wording does not change. It's just when you get two attorneys, they don't like certain words. But I think it passes. I mean, I'm fine with it.
And this is just gonna pertain to just that one landowner?
Just the one.
Everybody, you got a
Right.
couple, I think, on the other side there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is this particular bridge on this particular stretch of road. That's all it pertains to.
And again, just to summarize, we own the bridge and the county road and the easements. TxDOT is going to replace that bridge for us, but they have to go on to private landowners to service that bridge.
Right.
And so,
Anywhere from 5 to 20 feet,
Yep.
usually what they,
And-
it's not much.
not to make light of it, but you get attorney involved and they can make a mountain out of a molehill. But
Well, this has dragged on for, I think, in excess of a year, 2 years. It's gone back and forth, and we were in jeopardy of losing the funding, losing the project, and I thought, I just showed up. I would like to have the opportunity to defend that, and so fortunately, we were able to salvage it, so.
And I met with TxDOT as well. I think that was January, February. Their engineer that was over 11 counties came in to say, this is the project that we need y'all to look at and to take, to
Yes, you did.
participate in. So I believe we got done. Thank you for your work on that, Wayne.
And I
And
appreciate your work too, Jeff.
okay.
Thank you.
all right, any other discussion? We had a motion made by Precinct 2, second by Precinct 1, to approve the temporary construction license agreement between Lavaca County and Pad Farms LLC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, number 5, discuss and award bids for the following: gravel post oak pit run with red binder, purchase of seal coating and resealing, and this pertains to all 4 precincts. Do I have a motion?
You want me to read it first, or?
I
can-
think-
I'm gonna probably need to separate it. I'm gonna jump around. We had one bid for seal coating of roads, and that was H&C Construction. And they laid it out in 6 different options. Option 1 is $1.59 a square yard. Option 2 is 77 cents a square yard. Option 3 is $3.18 a square yard. Option 4 is $1.54 a square yard. Option 5 is $1.56 a square yard, and option 6 is $4 a square yard. And just to say, comparing these to last year with the price of oil, it's a lot cheaper than it was. And if we need to buy oil, it's gonna be MC30 oil is $3.58 per gallon. And I think these are some pretty good rates, and it's the only bid we have, so. And the bid number on it is 1717. I'll make a motion to accept the bid from H&C Construction for the purchase of seal coating and resealing for Lavaca County roads.
Second.
Motion was made by precinct 3, second by precinct 4 to accept the bid from H&C Construction for the gravel post oak pit run with red binder and purchase of seal coating and resealing. Any other discussion or things we need to add to that?
No, he just needs to buy another seal coating machine so we can get it done faster.
We'll save that for another day.
All right.
Barbara, do you have any, is that satisfactory for you? Okay.
That's
All those-
satisfactory.
All right, so
Thank you.
let's vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
All right, the next bid is several different ways also. It's gravel post oak pit run with red binder. Bid number 1714 is Perhoda Gravel Company. Delivered to the stockpile in precinct 1 is $14.75 a ton, precinct 2, $16.75 a ton, precinct 3, $16.25 a ton, and precinct 4 to Ezel is $16.25 a ton also. And to pick up the plant, at the plant is $5.75 a ton. Bid number 1715, All Star Materials, only put in a bid for pickup at plant, it's $7.25 a ton. Sweet Home Sand and Gravel, bid number 1716, precinct 1 is $17.85. They did not put a bid in for molten stockpile. Precinct 3 is $18.15, and precinct 4 is $15.20, and pickup is plant is $9.75. Now,
I feel discriminated against.
You want to go ahead and make a motion on that?
yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I mean, if y'all are happy, I know the prices vary a little bit by about $4 a ton, but if y'all would be happy, considering the situation, what we need and how hard it is to find gravel, I'd like to make a motion to accept all the bids.
Okay.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made by precinct 3, second by precinct 4 to accept all the bids as read on bid number 1714, 1715, and 1716. We've done that in the past, and sometimes it's vital because one company can't get to you for 3 months or so.
Breakdowns and what
It's
have you.
breakdowns and, all right, so,
Some don't want you at all.
did you say that loudly enough?
I said, some don't want you at all. I mean, I feel.
I didn't want to say that publicly, but, okay. But I mean, I think it's a sign of the times right now, and we're going to be talking about this during budget season, is all these companies have the same problems we are. Our diesel prices, fuel prices going up, and
Finding labor.
if they can go make money selling to residentials somewhere else, they're going to go make the money. They always put us on the back burner.
And one reason also, your gravel has different types of base in it, and depending on the soils that we're hauling to different areas of the county, it may need a sandy or more clay, and we have the option to pick whatever's going to work in that area better than any other area.
Good point.
That's a really good point.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion?
I'll just jump on to the next one.
Well, hold on, we got to vote on this. The motion was made by precinct 3, second by precinct 4 to accept the bids from 1714, 1715, and 1716 as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Is there more?
Yep. The next one is gravel post oak pit screened 1.5 inches and down with red binder. Price is per ton delivered to our stockpiles. Bid number 1714 is Prohoda Gravel Company. Hallettsville stockpile, precinct 1 is 1675. Precinct 2 Moulton is 1825. Precinct 3 Shiner is 1750. Precinct 4 Ezel is 1750. Pickup to plant is 1725 per ton. And All-Star, what? 725, I'm sorry. And All-Star Materials put a bid in at pickup and plant for $9.25 a ton. And again, I'd like to make a motion to accept all the bids.
Second.
Motion is made by precinct 3, second by precinct 4 to accept all the bids as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Ready?
You got more?
Yeah, I got 2 more. We got time.
We got time.
We have just straight pit run gravel. That means they're gonna take it straight out of the ground and put it on your truck. Precinct 1, Prohoda Sand and Gravel again, bid number 1714. Precinct 1, any county road, $15.75 per ton. Precinct 2, any county road, $17.75 per ton. Precinct 3, any county road, $16.75 per ton. And precinct 4, any county road, $16.75 per ton. The next bid would be 1715, Sweet Home Sand and Gravel. Precinct 1, $19.75 a ton. Precinct 3, $19 a ton. Precinct 4, any county road, $16 per ton. And again, I will make a motion, unless y'all want to talk about it.
Make a motion that we can talk. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion if y'all are satisfied with that. I know a couple of those bids are a little higher. All right, well, I'll make a motion to accept all bids of pit run gravel.
Second.
Motion made by precinct 3, second by precinct 4 to accept all bids as provided. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
And now we're gonna go back to, screen gravel again. That's gonna be the 1.5 inches down. Yeah, delivered to location. This is gonna be delivered to any location, in any county road in the county. Precinct 1, any county road is $17.25 per ton. Precinct 2, any county road is $19.25 per ton. Precinct 3, any county road is $18.25 per ton. Precinct 4 is any county road, $18.25 per ton. And Prohoda Gravel Company was the only ones that sent a bid in on that. So with that, I'll make a motion to accept the bids delivered to any county road from Prohoda Sand and Gravel.
Second.
Motion is made by precinct 3, second by precinct 4 to accept the bids as read and provided. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Does that conclude number 5, sir?
That should conclude number 5, sir.
You did a great job. Thank you.
Yes, you did.
All right, next up is item number 6, discuss and/or award depository bids.
Judge, I move that we discuss and award the depository bids.
Okay?
Oh, it's treasurer, sorry. Is that you?
Well, it's come to, it's a line item out of the treasurer's office, but
Okay,
it's,
okay.
go ahead. So,
Sorry.
you made a motion.
Make a motion, yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Motion made by precinct 2, second by precinct 1 to discuss and/or award depository bids. With that, I'll lead the discussion. I'm a member of the Treasury Committee. The committee's met at least 3 times and some discussions along the way. At best, it is a very emotional topic. There would be, if we change depositories, it's disruptive for the employees and people that are involved. But at the end of the day, the committee and the court has to do what's in the best interest of taxpayers. And by that, I mean, who has the best bang for our interest when it comes to us putting money on one of these depository bids. We had 3 bids. One was Fayette County, one was People's State Bank, and the other was Prosperity. For depositories, three for depository. And so the committee has met, and we feel at this time the best, let me backtrack. One bank has better now account interest rates, one has better money market account rates. And so the bulk of our money stays on money market throughout the year, which in this case, it could mean another $225,000 in interest to us by making a switch. So with that, and we're going to, when we talk about some votes, there's going to be some, I'm going to probably have to excuse myself from a vote, but I'm going to go ahead and make the nomination or recommendation. So I will make a recommendation to this court that we award the depository bid to People's State Bank of Hallettsville, Texas. So do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is made by the judge, seconded by precinct
Second, yes.
2.
Yes.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Based on everything that was submitted and based on everything that is involved in the award of the depository bid, it seems that we have the best options and comfort level with continuing our relationship with People's State Bank. So I think that's the best option at this point.
We would actually be switching banks. I mean, we're going from Prosperity to People's.
Okay.
So
Prosperity is our.
Prosperity's,
Is it-
and I think they've had it since 2005 or something like that. And again, this is, it can be considered a disruptive process. It's inconvenience for employees, but we're paid no matter what to do what's right for taxpayers, and that's where we look at it. And hopefully, this will come up for bid again in 2 years. And we'll make it a competitive process that, that's where it needs to be. We need to make the best with, especially with, I know everyone's fuel budgets, and we haven't talked about that, is just about busted. So we need to make the best bang for our buck with terms of interest. Okay, any other discussion? Before we vote, we're going to probably have to do a roll call vote because I know at least 2 of us cannot vote on the matter. We have conflicts. My conflict is, we have some personal ties to the bank as well, and I think we have stock in the bank as well. But this is a small town, small community, and we're only 20,000 people, and we're all in this together, so you're going to have some of that. So we're going to have to do a roll call vote for that matter. So let's say all those in favor of moving to, we'll do that? We'll do a roll call. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Precinct 1, how do you vote?
People's State Bank.
Precinct 2?
People's State Bank.
Precinct 3?
Abstain.
Precinct 3 is abstaining. Precinct 4?
People's State Bank.
Okay, and the judge is going to abstain. So that was 3 votes, 1, 2, and 4 for People's State Bank. The judge in precinct 3 is abstaining, and I will disclose for Kenny, his wife works at the bank, and that, again, we have that, there's a cross-pollination that just takes place. I will even add this, because of this perceived potential conflict, we went to a retired banker to ask his opinion on the bids. And so the court went out of Treasury Committee to ask that question, and it was basically back to that.
And basically, too, that, we have 2 bids to look at. And at the 2 bids, the People's State Bank, basically, for the county as a whole, is the way to go as far as, for the dollars and taxpayers at this point.
And we're very fortunate to have good banks. We have, I think, basically 4 lending institutions in Hallettsville, and we're very blessed to have those here. So thank you for all y'all do as well. But anyway, that motion passes by a 3-0 vote, 2 abstain. Yes.
You did have another one on the bench, a 2-1, which I did not vote on that one.
Okay. Well, okay. We had a. Okay. The first one.
To discuss and or award, I think Mr. Pearson.
Mr. Fairclough brought it to the table, seconded by precinct one. That brought the discuss, enter word, depository bids, and then when we went to, actually, I introduced the,
So
Pe-
you're gonna
I-
vote on the first one, on this 2-1?
so then I nominated, and then he seconded. So, is that it? So the judge made it, made the nomination, precinct two seconded the nomination, and then we voted.
So y'all-
Is that square?
What she's
Yeah,
saying
I'm just
is
a little
that,
confused because y'all had another one on the
Yeah.
bench with the two, because precinct 2 had made a motion and then precinct
to
1
approve it, to approve discussion.
had approved the discussion, so I just didn't know if y'all needed to vote on that one or not.
Well, I think at this time, I believe we'll just stick with the judge made a nomination, and precinct two seconded the nomination, then we took a roll call vote,
Okay,
and the vote passes.
all right.
Okay. All right, moving on to item number 7. Advertise bids for the purchase of the following for Lavaca County: concrete and labor bids for low water crossings and culverts for all 4 precincts.
Basically, what we have here is we need to catch up on our cementing and that, so we can start building roads from the ground up. I have, between us 4 precincts, we have 16 different projects we need to go out for bids on. So, and this will be a turnkey project, cement, labor, and steel. And the county will supply the backfill, the haul off, and the culvert pipes. And we're just trying to get a handle on this because there's a lot of ill repair out there in all 4 precincts. So, the bids will be due May 17th, 2023 at 10:15 a.m. Bids will be opened at 10:30. Bids will be awarded on May 26th, 2023 in Commissioners Court. And I make a motion to advertise for bids for the purchase of the following for Lavaca County: concrete and labor bids for low water crossings and culverts for all 4 precincts.
Second.
Motion was made by precinct 3, seconded by precinct 4, to advertise for bids for the purchase of the following for Lavaca County: concrete and labor bids for low water crossings and culverts for all 4 precincts. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, number 8, discuss and approve creating a facilities maintenance and technology position. And that would be to serve underneath the judge, to serve all of Lavaca County. Do we want to entertain a motion, or do you?
I move we discuss and approve creating a facilities maintenance and technology position.
Okay?
And after these last couple of weeks, it has showed its true colors. We really need somebody here.
We're going to talk about that in discussion point. Is that a second? Kenny?
Just a second.
Motion is made by precinct 2, second by precinct 3, to discuss and approve creating a facilities maintenance and technology position. I'll start off the discussion. First of all and foremost, we've had difficulties with technology here lately. We had an emergency meeting with Hill Country Tech, and I believe the treasurer was at that meeting with me, and Barbara was there, and we asked the sheriff to come, and he had emergency bailout that he had to be at. We are operating right now on a Band-Aid. So Hill Country has us patched, and we're up and running basically on a Band-Aid. Some of your services are not going to work properly right now. I know the auditor's office is frustrated. They couldn't access some things. Prior to this, we've ordered a couple of servers. One server for a new server for the courthouse. We've ordered the sheriff's office a new server for the sheriff's department, and I believe, Barbara, you're still good for a while on yours, for a couple more years. We renewed the warranties on, we've actually put extended warranties in place on the servers that we have in place until these new servers come in. We don't know what time they'll come in. After the meeting on Friday, we made a decision to go ahead and give the courthouse its own dedicated internet connection line. Right now, we had a system that was put in place that we were all 3, in 2020 when I came in, we were all 3 connected to the same deal. I think it came in from the annex to the courthouse, and then we beamed the signal back to the sheriff's office, which just did not make a whole lot of sense. Especially, we're only here 40 hours a week, the sheriff's office is there 24/7. So in 2020, we put a dedicated line into the sheriff's office. Now we're having the same problems between the annex and the courthouse, and so Hill Country Tech is recommending that we put our own dedicated lines in So now the courthouse will be the last one, we'll get our own dedicated line. We have increased usage of technology, less. So that covers the portion of the emergency meeting that was held Friday, so we did make some executive decisions there. That does not substitute for what we're doing here. When we're talking about creating a facilities maintenance technology position, I do have an open maintenance facility position right now underneath the judge, and I have an open admin position. So I'm not asking for more funding. I'm asking to consolidate those positions into a new position that's more technology focused. A lot of our maintenance and with our facilities, especially the sheriff's office, I mean, that was eye-opening to see how much technology they're using out there. Our equipment, we can't even change the air conditioning in here without getting online to change the air conditioning. That's how complicated it is, and it's going to get worse. We're going to have more technology than less. So Hill Country Tech is also advising that we put in somebody here in the county that is the lead when it comes to all of our tech providers. So when we create this position, we'll do a job description, and then I'm going to ask that the sheriff and Barbara serve with me on that committee to represent the 3 main buildings. We have, I think, 5 office buildings in town, plus the county barns, and so it's a daunting task. And this person could help with computers, could help with our phones, could help with our microphone systems, intercom systems, our keyless entries. They'll be in charge of all that. So you'd have a resource to pull from, each of us department heads. If you have a problem with technology, you'd have a person that's in Lavaca County to call that would help lead the way. So with that, a motion was made by Precinct 2, second by Precinct 3. Do you have any more discussion? Then I would ask y'all to vote and approve creating a facilities maintenance and technology position.
I make a motion to approve creating a facilities maintenance and technology position.
Second.
Okay, Barbara, we're doing this again. It's confusing.
Yeah, I'm not understanding that.
Yeah,
Y'all always just do one.
Then we
yeah,
go into
y'all are
time.
making a motion to discuss, and then y'all are making a motion to approve.
Okay, so,
I'm learning.
all right. Well, let's go back then. We'll try to get it right. So, we had a motion to discuss by Precinct 2 and second by Precinct 3 to approve creating a facilities maintenance technology position. Has that changed? All right, then we will vote to create a facilities maintenance technology position. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And again, just to be clear, this position does us no good if we don't all have buy-in to the person that we hire and trust the person that we hire. So that's why I want the sheriff and Barbara involved with the hiring process. We could add others too, but for sure, I would like y'all to be on the search committee and interview process. So, all right. Number 9, discuss subdivision regulations. I put this on the agenda just as I briefly brought up on agenda item number 4. I think our subdivision plans, we started them in 2020. Mark Myers finished them in 2021 when he came into office. And so I think after 2 years, we do know we have a few glitches in the plan. We need to go back as a committee and review them, bring our changes back. We'll have to have public hearings again to go back and make any changes. I just wanted to make that notice to the court now that I think it's time to do that. Do we have any?
No, and I understand that too, because even with subdivisions, just because there's roads in the subdivision or not, we still have impact on our county roads that we need to look into, to be aware of the more traffic and everything coming through.
I think we're gonna have to come up with a set width of a county road to even look at,
A set width
subdivision.
before you can do a subdivision?
Yes.
Okay. And again, this is just open discussion. We're not making changes right now, but what Kenny just suggested is a problem. I use my dad's land out in Oak Kinkler. He's got 100 acres out there. If he wanted to subdivide that and put, he could, in theory, put 50 more homes in there if he wanted to, but the artery coming in and down his road is a 1-lane road. We're constantly pulling over to let people pass, and you're tearing up the ditches. He even admitted his county road is getting torn up because people are pulling off the road to let someone pass, and it's a problem. So we can't just pass a subdivision without thinking the artery that goes to it. And I think we can put something in our regulations that can address that. Not to stop it, but if a subdivision wants to come in, well, they need to address the easement coming in, going to their subdivision, and it's not necessary on the county's dime to do that. That's the way I feel. But that would be up to the court and public comments, public discussion.
Yeah.
I certainly agree with that because there are things that are going on that, you know, continue to impact our roadways and our right-of-ways, and those things need to be, you know, discussed, and we need to find out what our options are in terms of, you know, protecting the integrity of those roadways.
Another way to put it, you know, again, on a rainy day, you've got first responders coming out to a scene, and you've got paramedics coming out, or EMS load to come out, and you meet on a one-lane road, and you can't pull over. And so that's a problem. And we have to look at that, again, not just for now, but for 100 years from now. How do we develop this, you know, the land that we live on? So I kind of want to entertain, what kind of timeline do we want to put ourselves to a timeline, or
Try to get something done this year yet.
Well, I would say too, what would be next step? Should we consult with, you know, with the attorneys at TAC to determine whether or not, you know, what our authority and jurisdiction is, you know, what we can and can't do, and
what I would suggest, I think we need to read, and it's tedious work, but spend an evening, a couple evenings in a row. It takes you about 3 or 4 hours to read through it, but read through it individually, flag out what you don't understand, flag out what you think needs to be addressed. We can address the roadways we just talked about, and I will address the court. I'm already signing off on the exemptions, and we may not even be fully aware of that. There's the title company will not close a deal on certain land unless the judge has signed off on it.
Right.
So I've had to draft letters that a certain tract of land does not meet our subdivision requirements.
And Judge, and that's interesting to me because I'm not sure where a title company gets that authority and whether or not they have the authority to require you to sign off on anything. I mean, where does that come from? So that's a question that needs to be answered as well.
What they're saying is it's not clear in the subdivision regulations that they're exempt. And so they want someone, they're the title company, they're putting insurance on this. So they want to say, well, we said it was exempt. So they're asking for a signature. And we've already tried this. Naileen's signature won't work for them. You know, she's the admin to the court. They want the court's authority. So
as far as we know, they're exempt from our regulations. That's
Right.
basically what we can attest to.
Right. We're basically looking at the plan. The last one I did, one landowner sold the back half of his land to the neighbor that adjoined the creek, and it made sense for them, and they were scared that, you know, basically saying that we're not subdividing it. It was clear what they were doing, why they were doing it. It was 10 or 12 acres, and so we just signed off that it did not meet our subdivision requirements at this time. But if they do decide to subdivide that tract, then they'd have to come back. That tract would have to be according to our plans.
I think besides our lawyers too, we're gonna need to get some local real estate, get their opinions, and reach out to our lawyers here and title companies also.
I would like to get the title companies involved with this. What language could we put in to help them? One of our engineers on one of the projects, Maverick Engineering, Pat Matusa, could pull me aside and said he's got some problems with some language in there. So I think we need to, this is a community project, it's not us, and so we need to have some more input. So I think, all I'm saying at this point is we need to discuss this, which we have, and then we need to reach out to our partners, title companies, engineers, attorneys, and let's go through it. Now, again, you don't let an attorney get a hold of it. What I'm saying, I mean, they'll start writing it all up. But we do have an attorney on our behalf, which is Allison Bass McGee, and they are the subdivision gurus out of Austin. So, but I think we need to read through it first and then have that meeting. So maybe the next court meeting, we'll call for a meeting with Allison Bass McGee, with us at the table, and go through these changes.
Yeah, we need time to, you know, digest this and determine, you know, where the areas of concern are and what we can do to address those.
Agree. I would also encourage the commissioners in particular to reach out to your neighboring commissioners.
Right.
I know Colorado County expressed interest that they'd like to sit down, you know, they'll send 2 of their delegates, commissioners, to talk with y'all. The more we can align as a multi-county region, then it helps when we share other county resources.
There's one more group I'd like to throw in on this too, and that's emergency services.
Yes.
Because they're the ones that gotta travel these roads. Like you said, a fire truck and a farm tractor coming down the road, or that's gonna be a problem.
Right.
So, you know, and that's a really good point, Kenny. I think that then the question is, do we have the authority to limit, development, on a one-lane road?
If it doesn't pass our regulations that says that road has to be a certain width for a certain amount of traffic, and it could go back to the traffic count issue. But here again, this is where we have to go back to sit down with the gurus, our attorneys, and say, here's what we see. And how do we write the language in there that we can protect?
Yeah.
And I will say this, I took a call last week on something we've already passed on a subdivision, and they weren't clear with what the developer was telling them about how the county's involvement was going to be. And so, in other words, we need something back in our office that says, well, here's what we approve, and send, on a certain subdivision, we'll send them what the court's position is. Because some of these subdivisions, we've said, no way will we ever touch the road, I believe. We've said that. But that's not sometimes the language is, it goes back, well, they might do the road.
Yeah.
With the right political pressure. Well, we don't want that either. Once we made a declaration based on, again, we're using taxpayers' funds, more responsibility has to be on the developers to bring us good projects that are, they're going to meet the criteria of our existing roadways and capacities. And I'll say this while we're just in discussion mode. I think it's Lovers Lane, County Road, 199? There's this 200? Yeah, 200. Okay, 200. The city's proposed a pretty large subdivision pouring back out onto our county road. Are you all aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, the precinct one says, yeah, he's aware. So it could be 100 new homes pouring back out onto our county road. Well, that's going to be wear and tear on that road.
I still think that's precinct 2 property.
We're not going to discuss that.
Y'all should have discussed that in the
We're
redistricting.
not discussing that.
But what I'm saying is, the more we do good as a community, we've got people that want to move here. And they'll come as quick as they can find a spot to buy.
And I want them to come, but I want to do it in the safest way for
Exactly.
everybody too.
We're not trying to restrict, we're just trying to do it right. We're not saying, if you do it right.
We definitely.
All right, so I don't think we need a motion on that, but we've discussed the subdivision regulations. I think at this point, I'm asking the court to review the plan, and then maybe on the next court meeting, we'll set up a time to meet with our attorneys with what we come up with, and then go from public comment and go forward. So everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Any other discussion before we move on? Nothing? All right. Item number 10, Community Connections Update by Ms. Becky Yanak. Is Ms. Becky here?
I'll try to keep this brief. I'm reading most of it. So our totals for last year, 2022, transit trips, 11,210. Meals provided, 34,731. Our income was $443,230.54. Our expenses were $602,794.32, which of course left us a balance of almost $160,000 that luckily was covered by grants and donations. Our transportation and meal counts are increasing. In the first quarter of this year, we provided 854 more trips and 2,900 more meals than we did in the first quarter of last year. The need for public transportation as well as affordable meals for the elderly in our county is definitely there. We just have to make sure the money is too. Currently, we have 6 nutrition vehicles and 7 transit vehicles. Our vehicles are purchased with grant money or through procurement between Golden Crescent Regional Planning Commission and TxDOT. GCRPC studies our monthly data submitted from all the counties in the region every month, and then determines which agencies have the greatest need for additional vehicles. We've been told that we are going to receive 1, possibly 2 more wheelchair accessible vans this year, and we'll need to hire 1 or 2 more drivers. We are responsible for all vehicle maintenance, repairs, supplies, and paying drivers. So that's why the additional money is always needed for our program. Last year, I spoke about a commuter contract with Splashway to transport their young employees from our county to work at the water park. It worked really well. We're going to do it again this year. We met with Carl and his staff, Carl Blahuda and his staff at Splashway, and they're really ramping up the program, so it should be busier. We'll be doing 2 morning routes, 2 afternoon routes, Monday through Friday for those guys. We're still maintaining contracts annually with TxDOT, Health and Human Services, Area Agency on Aging, and the Texas Department of Agriculture for monthly expenditure reimbursements, as well as applying for grants from the Dixon Allen Foundation and Lily Johnson Foundation for operating and capital expenses. We also receive donations from individuals and organizations throughout the county and hold fundraiser events throughout the year. And as I said before, without these grants, contracts, and donations, this program wouldn't exist. So we really are grateful for every dollar we receive. So back a few years ago, when we kind of got shut down by COVID, we did the renovations at our Halsell Center. And we talked about at that time trying to make our traffic situation a little better in the parking lot. Because as it is now, you know, we deal with post office traffic, school traffic, fire department traffic, and our own client traffic, as well as vehicles using the parking lot as a shortcut. So it's a safety issue. We've got more clients coming in, not only to eat at the center, but to pick up meals, like in a to-go fashion. So there's a lot of traffic coming and going, and I would like to see a barrier put up, like in the front part of the parking lot, to where our clients enter the back, and it would prevent traffic from driving through the entire, from one side to the other. Because, like I said...
To be specific, you're talking about the Hallettsville location only?
Yes,
Right, okay.
Hallettsville, yes. Where the fire department building is now, and between the center, the front of the center, I would love to see a barrier put up there, so, like I said, we can prevent that. Yes, yes. And have our clients enter that back parking lot from Main Street, stripe it, let them park back there, pick up the meals from the backside. We'll still be able to access, you know, the front of the center. We'll put that barrier up. And I would love for you guys to come over and just look at things one day and give me your opinions. And as well, I also would love to do security cameras at the center too. I don't know if the county has anything in place, but I'd like to jump in on that.
It's a work in progress.
Okay.
But I was, the whole park, the entire parking lot is our county parking lot, and
Yes.
you as department head, if you want to slow traffic down there, I don't think there's a problem with putting a barricade there
Okay.
at this point.
I need to know specifically where that street ends, because it's south of Grange Street. You know, I've looked at the CAD online. I've looked at, well, Ron Kolashny came and did a survey of the property, but they kind of conflict, so I need to know exactly where that road or street actually ends, or where we could put that
I think we
barricade.
can work with the city and, you know, Bill would work with us on that area through there also. I think that would be the plan. You know, talk to them, and, you know, maybe they'll close the whole thing off, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a through street through there. I
Yeah,
don't believe.
that's what I'm
But I mean, but we, I guess the first step is to verify that.
Yeah.
And then second, to advise them that we're going to put up a barricade. I thought at one time in 2020, we talked about putting up a secured fence so you could secure your vehicles at night. Wasn't that a requirement of Golden Crescent?
We have one in Yoakum.
The Yoakum facility has a secure fence to park
Yes.
vehicles in at night, barbed.
And that location contains the vehicles that we get from Golden Crescent. So
Okay,
our vehicles here, we have county-owned, well, vehicles that we buy with program money or grant money.
Gotcha.
That are,
okay, so all right,
so that was the main requirement, is to have the transit vehicles they give us in a fenced-in area, and we do have those in Yoakum.
and just to reiterate to the court, you know, we took a field trip to the sheriff's office. That was going to be our first stop, and then we're going to keep going around to all our facilities. So when we go to Yoakum at some point, We go to Becky's facility in Yoakum that I've never seen, and then the JP's office is over there as well. Carrie Peterson is housed there, the constable's there, so Hallie and Carrie. But we can make a field trip out there. I'd like to go see it myself as well. But you're talking about the property here, which we've all known about. And I thought in 2020 we discussed putting a barricade of some sort. Maybe I've got some of the barricades.
We
and
did.
These commissioners
We
could.
I just, after the remodel,
Okay.
I just never jumped back on it, but I would like to do that now.
All right, well, I would say let's verify the city of where the street stops and starts, and let's go from there, and then we can come back as a court and decide what to do.
Okay,
So-
sounds good.
All right, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Hope you got another question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna ask, thank you, Becky, for what you do. You gave a number, you said an additional 2,900 meals first quarter of this year?
Compared to the
Compared
first
to
quarter of last year.
Compared to last year?
Yes.
So can you just generalize and say, is that a 10% increase, or?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Not sure, but it is a significant increase?
It's a significant increase, and we're seeing this every year, just more and more. So we're expanding, and, we're feeling the growing pains, so.
Okay.
Like needing to hire more employees, needing to get more vehicles, which means more money.
Yes, that's the name of it. Everyone needs more,
Yep.
Thank you.
more people, more money right now. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, motion to approve the community connections update.
Make a motion to accept the community connection update.
Second.
They beat you to it.
Sorry, that's fine.
Motion made by precinct 4, second by precinct 3 to accept the community connections update. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. All right, next is your EMS update, brought to you by Chief Furter.
Good morning. So this is a report for March of 2023. We had a total of, kind of a busy month. We had a total of calls for service of 177. Out of that 177, we transported 136 patients. We did 141 911 emergency calls versus 36 transfers to other medical facilities. As always, we put quite a bit of mileage on our ambulances, and this is just loaded miles. This is not unloaded miles. Medic 1 did 1,188 miles, which is here in Hallettsville. Medic 3 in Shiner did 1,508, and Medic 5 in Moulton did 1,336. Hallettsville is traditionally our busiest station, which last month was 88 calls. Shiner 56, Moulton 32. A few things I want to mention as well. On top of this, we have been for the last, 3 or 4 days. I believe we get to move back in tomorrow. We've had our ambulance in Moulton has been stationed here in Hallettsville, so we've had 2 ambulances here in Hallettsville because the Moulton Clinic Board, for those who don't know, the clinic board owns the station that we reside in Moulton, and they've been kind enough to do some renovations for us that have been needed. Redoing some floors. We had a little bit of mold remediation they're taking care of for us, redoing the air conditioner system, that kind of stuff. So we should be moving back in tomorrow. In lieu of them not being present in Moulton at the time, the Shiner ambulance has been covering Moulton response area. So we, just like everybody else, I don't know if I've mentioned it before. If I have, I apologize. I'll mention it again. We've had trouble procuring ambulances for remounts, and we finally found 2 chassis that we were able to procure. They were live and on the ground. Nobody had their name on them yet, so they have our names on the windshield. And so hopefully in the October area, we'll be able to get those remount and refurbishes done and get those ambulances back in service on the road. They're still in service now. It's just they go to Houston, they get the box taken off, they get a whole refurbishment of the box, and it gets placed on a new chassis and bring it back home to put it back in service. In May, we do have 1 employee that's graduating paramedic school for Victoria College, which is no easy feat nowadays. It's about 2 to 2.5 year process from EMT to paramedic, and we actually hired her, I would say a little over a year now, maybe a year and a half. She's been with us for quite a bit, and we supported her while she's going to school like we do really anybody who wants to further their education in our department, and worked with her schedule. So she'll be graduating in May, so that's another paramedic that we'll have for Lavaca County. They don't really make paramedics like they used to, just like law enforcement. There's not many people out there who want to do our job anymore, and we're grateful and thankful for those and want to show the support to have them go to school and afford them that opportunity. And the last thing that I want to mention, which I know the emergency management will touch on, but this past week took some time and went to Victoria to the Gulf Coast Hurricane Conference, and Lavaca County did really well. We have 2 award recipients in the room today, and one of them belongs to Lavaca County, the other one's Yoakum Fire Department, and I can tell you all right now, without Assistant Chief Decker in this department, we would not have been able to move forward as much as we have with the consistency, and I appreciate what he does for the department, which is another reason why I'm pretty sure he got this Rising Star Award for our region. Mr. Morelli will speak on it here in just a minute, but I appreciate both of these guys and the teamwork that we have in between our departments. We constantly are in communication. We cover one another. Yoakum responds to us. We respond to Yoakum. Yeah, there's barriers, but when it comes time to response areas, but when it comes time to help one another out in each one of our respective response areas, those dissolve, and we're just there to help one another and each other's communities. So other than that, do y'all have any other questions?
The only thing I want to add is I went to that conference myself. There's about 500 people there. There was only 4 judges that I saw that were there, and 2 random people came up to me to compliment me on the EMS program that we have in Lavaca County. So the region has woke up to, you guys are doing a great job, and that's Cresta and Decker as well. I mean, y'all are leading the way for that, and y'all were there to receive an award on behalf of that, and this judge was proud just to see what y'all, to have y'all walk across that stage was awesome. So thank y'all for doing what you do and leading the way. And I think Mr. Morelli will take it from here. Let's stick around for a picture.
And I'll just echo what the sheriff says. We really appreciate y'all's support in doing what we do. I know we're a different animal. Some counties don't have ambulance services, and most counties don't understand what we do. But it's our job to educate you guys. It's our job to educate our cities, our community, and the services we provide, and we appreciate the support from not only the county but the cities. Clinic Board, for example, who has the building, allows us to stay there. The city of Shiner, who has the building, allows us to stay there. We appreciate it.
And just to reiterate, this is not your new uniform, correct?
This is not my new uniform, no. Not yet.
Well, congratulations to you and to you as well, Tim. Congratulations on a very well-deserved recognition.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you.
All right, next up, item number 12 is our EMC update. For his first update is our official emergency management coordinator, Mr. Greg Morelli.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, members of the court. Just really quickly, I just want to kind of touch on a few items real quick. First of all, we had our first Lavaca County telecommunications meeting was set for this afternoon. Of course, unfortunately, with the passing of Mrs. Furr, we've rescheduled that meeting. There's several of us that are going to the services this afternoon, so we've reset that meeting for later this week. So we will be meeting, but we've had to reset that. Second thing I want to do is, and I want to appreciate Sheriff Harmon, I appreciate the EMS, all the different first responders in the county. The week of April 10th through the 14th was National 911 Week, for our National 911 telecommunicators. Kind of each day that week, Sheriff can speak to that, but we had different organizations throughout the county bringing different things, recognizing those folks. We always say they're seldom seen but always heard. And again, we've had several events. I'll tell you, the day we had the issue with the explosive device here on the courthouse grounds, that puts a tremendous amount of stress on the dispatch office because they're having to talk to multiple agencies all at the same time, and they just do a fantastic job. And so I want to make sure the sheriff relays that to those ladies over there, and we appreciate them. So we celebrate that. Second thing, just like Judge said, there were several of us from the county, Judge Mudd, myself, Chief Furr, Assistant Chief Decker, members of the Yoakum Fire Department, Yoakum EMS, as well as Egan, who is our TDM liaison for the county. We all attended the Hurricane Disaster Conference in Victoria last Thursday. I know Judge Mudd and I rode together, and we just couldn't kind of really get over the fact how impressed we were with the different things that were discussed there, even though we really didn't discuss hurricanes at all. there wasn't a lot of hurricane discussion, but we did discuss a lot of things. But something particular to Lavaca County that I wanted to tell you about, I was very impressed. I was able to attend, Judge Mudd was in a specific meeting for public officials, but I went to a meeting. Our EMS and Yoakum Fire and EMS, they actually put on a breakout session over the plane crash that occurred in Yoakum back in January. There were probably 30 to 40 first responders from the region that came to that. They did a fantastic job of just explaining how, in rural Texas, and specifically in Lavaca County, we don't expect airplanes to fall out of the sky. And so we don't really have a way to train for that. We don't really have a way to prepare for that. And as you know, in the last year, we've had a plane fall out of the sky. We've had train derailment. We've had a lot of things that we don't really plan for or can really train for. But you take the other training that you have and you put that together and go. And just like we said before, the most impressive thing to me about our county right now and what we do is we make great use of the resources we have. And also great use of the partnerships we have with those around us. And so it was really impressive watching Nick do the presentation piece from the Yoakum Fire Department standpoint, Mike and Tim do the presentation from the EMS standpoint, and just have it. Some of you may not know this. You know, the fact is, one person did survive that crash. Okay, I'll be real honest with you. They probably should not have. When you know the injuries that were sustained, I see Judge shaking her head here. But in that ambulance, which they had called a helicopter to come in, the helicopter could not come into Lavaca County because of fog that morning. They had to turn the helicopter around, which they had to make the decision to go ahead and transport to Victoria for potential flight out to a level 1 trauma center. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think in the Yoakum unit, we had 4 paramedics working that patient, both from Lavaca County and from Yoakum Fire. So we had the best of the best we have in the county for that patient, and that's why we got the results that we got, and that gentleman is still alive and he's still here. So again, I can't give kudos enough to those guys. It was great for me to sit in the back of the room and just sort of, yeah, I'm from Lavaca County. But it was really impressive. So thank you guys for that. So I want to make sure you got that. And then again, probably the proudest moment for us, I think, was at the beginning of the session, they gave out some awards for the region. And we had 2 gentlemen from our county that were given an award. One of the, I'm proud to work with these guys every day, but I'm also proud to be their friends. And one of them I've known from the time he was this big. And so Nick and I are from the same hometown. And so Nick played football for me at East Bernard High School back in the day. And for me to get to see him as a grown man doing the things he does, that's just a proud moment for me. And so both Nick and Tim were given the Rising Stars in Public Service Award from the region at that event for the things that they have done in public service to both not only our county but this area. And so I wanted to have them here today, and I wanted to present them to the court and let the court know that we've got lots of good things going on in Lavaca County. And so I want to give them a round of applause. I like Nick so much that my son's going to go to work for him here in about a month. So for the Yoakum Fire Department. So appreciate that. All right. So last thing I have is things that have been going on in the county for the last few days. For those of you that don't know, this involved the Sheriff's Department. Last Friday, the 21st, we had a bailout about 10 a.m. in the morning. We did send a code red alert out. We did that for a 3-mile radius around that location. It was at County Road 156 and Private Road 1010. Again, it was just impressive for me to see how everybody just sort of jumped into action mode. Sheriff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that pursuit was initiated by the 7759 Task Force, and they actually spiked the vehicles on the bridge. There were 3 vehicles involved. Those of you that don't know how this works, they usually have a scout vehicle that's in front looking for law enforcement. They have the vehicle that's actually carrying the people, and then they have a blocker vehicle in the back, which their job is to actually divert law enforcement once the pursuit begins. They were able to spike 2 of the vehicles, got the vehicles. The vehicle ran out through a fence, and about 15 to 20 bailed out of that vehicle. We were able to ascertain assets from DeWitt County, Colorado County, TDEM, help me, Mike, if I'm missing somebody. Yoakum PD, who actually suffered a crash of their drone. But I'm going to tell you, the most impressive thing, we had 4 different drones out there, and those drones all have infrared technology on them. And so you can fly those drones, and then you can see. The problem is, we probably had about 1,000 cows in that same area that we had human beings, and so they were getting picked up on the drones as well. But getting those drones deployed and all that certainly helped. Again, just the resources that we have, but I know Mike and I have been in communication. A drone for the county is something that we're really looking at doing, and I'm looking at putting in a grant through my office to get a drone so that we would have that resource within the county should we need it in the future. Fire and rescue wise, Houseville Fire had a structure fire on April 14th at Seguro Farms out on County Road 206. And then just the other night, this past would have been Friday morning, early Friday morning. Judge mentioned earlier, we had a high water rescue on County Road 19. It was the Shiner Fire and Rescue. We had some folks that actually tried to cross the Smothers Creek low water crossing, and they were caught in the water. No one was injured or anything, but good job by everybody that responded to that. And then, of course, weather-wise, we've probably had more rain in the last 2 weeks than we've had in 2 years. And so it's been great to have the rain, but we have had some minor flooding and some things in some areas. But I've been working well with the commissioners and getting road closure signs put up. The sheriff's department's been great in sending that information to me, and then Egan and I talk pretty much daily right now on what's going on. So a lot going on, but a lot of good things. And do you guys have any questions for me?
I think we're good.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
And
hitting the
before,
ground
before you get away, Greg, I want to ask Nick, Kristen, and Decker if y'all come forward, and Sheriff, and Fur, let's get a picture of everyone for the award. And Egan, we'll let Egan in. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion to move into consent?
I so move.
Motion made by precinct 2,
Second.
second by precinct 1. We are now in consent agenda, and our microphones will go off while we're signing paperwork. Consent agenda has been taken care of. Do we have any other business of the court at this time?